We are living in one of the lowest trust periods in modern history. People don't trust governments, they don't trust media, they don't trust institutions, and increasingly, they don't even trust each other. This isn't paranoia, and it didn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of years of social, political, and technological changes that accelerated sharply after 2020. COVID acted as a stress test for society, and trust failed that test. Lockdowns, mandates, and constantly changing expert advice created confusion and resentment. People were told to isolate from loved ones, treat others as threats, and accept major restrictions with little transparency. When questions were shut down instead of answered, skepticism grew. Even after restrictions ended, the damage stayed. Once people feel misled or dismissed, trust doesn't just snap back. Trust collapses fastest when institutions contradict themselves. Government said one thing, then reversed course. Media outlets selectively framed stories. Corporations posted moral messaging while quietly profiting. Over time, people stopped believing the system was neutral or fair. When accountability disappears at the top, people stop respecting the rules at the bottom, and cynicism becomes the default mindset. Social media didn't create distrust, but it magnified it. Algorithms rewarded outrage, fear, and conflict because those emotions keep people scrolling. Instead of shared reality, we now live in digital tribes, each with its own version of the truth. People aren't just disagreeing anymore, they are questioning each other's intentions. Online anonymity removes accountability, and constant comparison fuels insecurity, resentment, and suspicion. As polarization increased, trust decreased. Politics, culture, and even basic values became battle lines. When society is framed as us versus them, trust becomes conditional, only extended to those who think the same way. Everyone else is viewed as misinformed, dangerous, or malicious. A society that can't assume good faith can't function cohesively. Trust also erodes when life feels unfair. Rising living costs, housing stress, stagnant wages, and growing inequality make people feel the system is rigged. When hard work no longer guarantees stability, people stop believing institutions serve the public. Economic insecurity breeds suspicion, not just of governments, but of anyone perceived to be winning in a broken system. At the same time, real-world community has declined. People spend less time with neighbours, fewer people join local groups, and more life happens online. Trust used to be built through everyday interactions, casual conversations, shared spaces, mutual reliance. Without that, society becomes fragmented and impersonal, and people retreat into isolation. Low trust societies are colder and more fragile. People withdraw, birth rates fall, loneliness rises, and cooperation breaks down. Every policy is questioned, every interaction is defensive, and collective progress slows. A society without trust doesn't collapse overnight, it slowly decays. One of the biggest trust killers today is the death of shared reality. We no longer agree on basic facts, only narratives. AI-generated content, manipulated clips, selective reporting, and algorithmic bias make people question everything they see. When truth feels flexible, trust collapses. People stop believing institutions, media, and eventually each other. Modern society is constantly watched. Every post, message, and opinion can be screenshotted, archived, and used against you. People self-censor not because they've changed their beliefs, but because honesty now carries risk. When people can't speak freely, relationships become performative, and performance is the enemy of trust. Trust can't survive in a system that rewards deception. Politicians are incentivized to spin stories, media outlets profit from rage, influence exaggerate to stay relevant. The louder and more emotional the lie, the more attention it gets. Over time, people learn that sincerity doesn't win. Manipulation does, so they stop assuming good faith. Cultural and identity conflicts have fractured social trust even further. Men and women are increasingly positioned as adversaries. Masculinity is framed as toxic, femininity as oppressed, and dialogue is replaced with blame. When people see each other as symbols instead of individuals, trust disappears. You can't build unity on constant accusation. Dating apps and social media have turned relationships into marketplaces. People are treated as options, not commitments. Ghosting, manipulation, and short-term validation are normalized. When trust breaks down at the most personal level, love, intimacy, and family, it spills into society as a whole. Emotional distrust becomes social distrust. Society hasn't had time to recover. Financial crisis, pandemics, wars, inflation, and constant fear narratives keep people in survival mode. A nervous system stuck in fight or flight doesn't trust, it protects. When stress becomes permanent, empathy fades and suspicion grows. Traditional, moral, and cultural frameworks have weakened, but nothing solid has replaced them. Without shared values, society runs on rules instead of trust. People comply out of fear of consequences, not in belief of each other. Rules without values feel oppressive, and oppression breeds resentment. Low trust societies are colder, lonelier, and more unstable. Communities fragment, birth rates fall, people withdraw into isolation or tribes, cooperation becomes rare, and every interaction feels defensive. Society doesn't collapse suddenly, it erodes slowly, quietly, and psychologically. This didn't happen by accident. Low trust is the logical outcome of broken incentives. Constant surveillance, identity conflict, and a culture that rewards deception over truth. Rebuilding trust won't be as easy, but recognizing what broke it is the first step. Rebuilding trust isn't about slogans or virtue signaling. It requires consistency, transparency, accountability, and shared values. Over time, until that happens, many people remain guarded, skeptical, and disconnected, and that may be the defining psychological condition of our era. I did have another idea for making a video, and that video was my thoughts about a Australian republic. So if I can get a solid amount of likes, I'll give my thoughts about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys in the next one.